at that. I'm good at not turning on the microphone. One more time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you, everybody? How's it going? I said hello to a lot of you this morning. Good morning, Brahim. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Luciana. Milena, how's it going? I hope everybody's having a fantastic Monday so far. I know I am. I've got my coffee. I'm ready to go. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Singh. Good morning, GS Sandhu. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning, Ricardo. Good morning, Edeltraud Schmidt. Yeah, hello, Germany. Hello, everybody from around the world. I'm glad you could join me this morning. Or, I shouldn't say this morning. I always assume it's my time of day. For you, it's the afternoon or the evening. Whether you've done this before or you're new here, I'm glad you could join. I'm glad you could join and be here. Okay. I guess let's just get started. Let's just dive right in. I'll put the class notes up behind me. I should share those with you too. This link I'm going to put in the chat are the class notes. There's the link. Put there a couple times. You can go ahead, if you're on your computer, you can click open the link and see these class notes, of course. In the class notes, I always share Zach's email. If you have any questions about these live classes, you can always contact Zach at this email. Then there's the Smrt Live page. Which one's that? No, not that one. This one. That gives more information about these classes. We have 4 levels. We have pre-intermediate with Abby on Tuesdays. We have intermediate with Sean on Fridays. Upper intermediate with me on Mondays. And English for academic purposes with Josh on Thursdays. One thing I have to say about my class, it's moving from Mondays to Wednesdays. It's moving from Mondays to Wednesdays. So this class, this is my last Monday class. So next week, I will be here on Wednesday morning. Same time that I am now, but it will be on Wednesdays. I hope you can all make that. I know that's a bit of a change. I've been doing it on Monday for quite a few months now. It's moving to Wednesdays. Okay. The next link in the class notes is the SCEL page. And that's this one. This is where Josh and I and Abby work. If you want to know more about our school or a little more about Spokane, go ahead and go to that one. We have a Facebook group. It's Learn English on Facebook with Smrt. If you haven't joined, please do so. Learn English on Facebook with Smrt. Finally, you can watch all the old videos on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel. It is Smrt Live Class, Smrt English on YouTube. You can watch all the old videos. They are all archived. You can check that out. No, just me. Just my class is changing. I'm changing from Mondays to Wednesdays. All the other classes will remain the same. I will not be teaching you every day. I would if I could. If I had the time, I would be happy to. Just Wednesdays. It'll be just Wednesdays. This is the last Monday I will teach you. So mark it on your calendars. This will be the last Monday that I teach you. Good morning, Bharat. Go jogging. Jacopo, we say go jogging. My name's Neal Hallgarth. As always, my name hasn't changed. Just today, I teach. Yeah, we say go jogging. Example, in the past. I went jogging yesterday morning. Okay, I'll let everybody say hi there. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay. Hi, Nandish. Good morning. Today we're talking about articles. Articles. There are only 3 articles, of course. There's an, and the. There's only 3 articles in the English language, and yet the rules are very, very difficult because there's so many. I'm going to use the presentation off the Smrt curriculum as I go through and talk about this. I'll keep checking the chat as we go as well. For those of you just joining one more time, there's the class notes. Oh, good, DRE. I'm glad Wednesday is better for you. It's certainly better for me. It works much, much better for me. I can't wait to start teaching Wednesdays instead of Mondays. Okay, let's look at articles. Even high-level students, even advanced students, tend to make frequent mistakes with articles. Students are often unsure whether to use an indefinite article or definite article, or whether to use a definite article or no article at all. So I'm going to go right back to the notes. In our vocabulary, we're using 2 words, indefinite and definite. When we speak of articles, definite is the, indefinite is a and an. The is a definite article. It refers to something very well defined, something specific, something that your listener or your reader knows about. A and an are indefinite. They refer to something that might be unknown, or the exactness of it is not important. It's not important that we're talking about an exact thing. Let's look at some rules. Okay, unknown and known nouns. When we introduce a noun for the first time we write or speak of something, we usually use the indefinite article, a or an. If we have already referred to the noun, or if the noun is known, we use the definite article, the. Let's take a look at an example. It is said on the news that a man had driven his car into a house. The man was treated for minor injuries, but the car was totally destroyed. No one in the house was harmed. Okay, so notice, and this would be a news article, of course, it said on the news that a man. The first time we write about a man, it has to be indefinite article a. This is the first time your reader or listener will have heard that a man was involved in this accident. So we use indefinite article. We don't know the man yet. Same here with a house. This is the first time we've heard of a reference about the house. so we use for house as well. But after that, this first sentence establishes or lets us know everything involved with the story. Now afterwards, we know who the man is. We know there is a man, so we switch to the definite article the. Now it's the man. Same man as before, but now we're using definite article. The man was treated for minor injuries, but the car, and we know the car too. Before we didn't use an article, we used a possessive, his car. But we know there's a car in the story, so we can also use the definite article the for car. The car was totally destroyed. No one in the house was harmed. We established in the first sentence there was a house, and now from here on out, from this point forward in the story, it will become the house. Okay, so you're asking about the sounds of words, and should we use a and an? Okay, one way to do it, yes, is a and an can be used before vowel sounds, or just a vowel if the word begins with a vowel. The consonant sounds, or after a consonant. The easier rule is to look at the word. So let's see, where can we put this? Okay, we talked about this. If we're going by sound, the easiest way to do it is if you looked at the word, for example, and you asked about the word hour. The easiest way, if you use the rule, you look at the first letter. That first letter is a consonant. Then you know you can just put a hour, and that's fine because this is a consonant. If you go by the sound, hour, we don't pronounce the H. It just sounds like you're saying hour. That rule is different. Then you would say an hour. So we can call this rule 1. You go by the letter. You look at the first letter. Or you can do rule 2. First sound. And the first sound here is ow, hour. My recommendation is to go by rule number 1. Look at the first letter. It's a much easier rule, and you can do it by sight. The first sound, this is more formal, but it's harder because some words get tricky, whether they start with a consonant or a vowel sound. My recommendation is to go by the first letter and not by the first sound, because going by the first sound can get very, very tricky. Go by the first letter. Use rule number 1. It's acceptable. Hiding love, you're saying if we put a lot of articles in a sentence, it seems like too much. There is no limit to articles. In English, and especially American English, we love articles. There's no such thing as too much articles. It's really about if something is specific, if something is known, or if something is countable. We use a lot of articles. You can't really look at a sentence and see if there's too many articles or not. We love articles. We love articles. Some of you can hear the music in the background. That's just coming from our neighbors downstairs. They're always partying, our neighbors downstairs. We have a health food. That's like a health restaurant. We have a health restaurant, a healthy organic restaurant downstairs, and they're always blasting their music. Hour. It is difficult for pronunciation. Hour. What can you do in hour? This is easier because that N breaks up that vowel sound. If you do this, if you go by rule 2, if you go by first sound, you're going to have to say some of the words out loud to figure out, should you use A or N? A or N. Oh, should I tell him to keep it down? Should I tell him to keep it down downstairs? I don't think the music's that loud. It's not coming across as very loud, is it? Usually they've turned it down by now. They're still opening. They're still opening the restaurant. I'm trying to think of as we go along, if I think of another example, I'll add them to this part here. Oh, De Jesus, look at my class notes. Why don't you email Zach? If you're having problems figuring it out, go ahead and email Zach. I'll share Zach's email in the notes there. Okay, let's keep talking about rules. Let's keep talking about rules. Yeah, if you do, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Zed. If you use rule 1, is before consonants, and like for example, an apple. And goes before vowels. And before vowels, before consonants. It's an easier rule. It's an easier rule. I think you would use it more in writing than you would in pronunciation. Like Rosa said, this is difficult to pronounce. Kind of difficult to pronounce hour. Easier to pronounce an hour. This rule 1 is definitely easier for writing. If you are writing and you have to apply a rule, apply rule 1. De Jesus, we might come back and do an auxiliary class. We're on Unit 12 now. So starting next week when I start doing Wednesdays, I'm going to loop back around to Unit 1. So we're going to cover some different stuff and some of the stuff we've covered before. Yes, that's right. With the first rule, this will cover most. It'll be about, you're right, Leo, it'll cover most of rule 2 as well. It will just leave out the exceptions. And in writing, it will not be incorrect. Formally, this is correct. An hour. Although language is always shifting, language is always changing, I think you see rule number 1 more and more often. Even though rule 2 is the formal rule, a more academic, formal type of writing and speaking, rule number 1 is slowly becoming more common, more popular as a way of speaking, writing, sometimes even at a high level. So we're seeing the shift to rule 1. Okay. Sometimes we don't know, should we use a definite article, the, or no article before. So specific and general nouns. When we are referring to a plural noun or uncountable noun in general, we do not usually use articles. Coffee is a major export of Colombia. You would not say the coffee. Of course you wouldn't say a coffee. No article before coffee. No article before coffee. It is uncount. Uncount. Here's a plural noun, dolphins. Dolphins are intelligent animals. So we have two plurals, dolphins and animals. No articles, no articles. So for plural or uncountable nouns, in general, this is the general rule. We'll look at some exceptions. In general, plural and uncount, no articles. There is an article here, but it's for the word export. It's for the word export. But here, coffee, dolphins, animals, no articles. Coffee is uncount, so we don't use articles. But we will look at an exception. So, Bharat, you're saying according to convenience? I would say pick a rule. When you are writing, pick a rule and stick to the rule. Pick a rule and stick to the rule. My advice is to pick and stick to rule 1. Can you remember that? Pick and stick. Anytime there's a stylistic rule, or you're in a strange area where language is changing, and you'll see a couple rules being used simultaneously, for you as a writer or a speaker, pick and stick to a rule. Don't go back and forth. Once you pick the stylistic rule that you prefer, that's easier for you to use, stick to it. Pick and stick. If we go up, I should say count. Count nouns are things like tables. So count nouns. Tables, cats, cars. What else is there? Phones. Uncount nouns are things like furniture, water, cheese. Is that right? Cheeses? No, we could say cheeses. What? Milk. People. Actually, people. It's a little strange. It's things, uncount nouns, usually things we don't apply S to. Things we cannot apply S to. People is actually not one. Yeah, I'll put rice. Oh, good, rice. Thank you. Rice. Nitesh, usually we don't say rices. Oh, do I have a resource for the sound? I don't have a resource for the sound rule. I'll look one up. I'll look one up for next time, for next Wednesday. Yeah, good, sand. Okay, you guys know. You guys know. Okay, so that being said, remember, this is a general rule, meaning this is usually the rule. There are exceptions. Let's look at some exceptions. Okay. If we are speaking about something or writing about something and we happen to make it specific. So we mentioned coffee before. Is the coffee from Starbucks fair trade? With a prepositional phrase, from Starbucks, we have just made it specific. We have just made it specific. So we would use definite article the. Not just any coffee, not just coffee in general, not any coffee around the world, a specific type of coffee, the coffee from Starbucks. And often location or business can make something specific. And now we would apply the definite article the. Let's look at another example. The most popular animals at the aquarium are the dolphins. Here, this first one, we're using the definite article the because we have a superlative, the most. Anytime you have a superlative like most, use definite article the. The most popular animals at the aquarium are the dolphins. Here we use definite article the before dolphins. Notice it's a plural. Usually we wouldn't use the, but here we are because it's contextually specific. What do I mean by context? Well, we have a specific location, the aquarium. The most popular animals at the aquarium are the dolphins. It's location specific. We've given context. We're not talking about the dolphins in the ocean. We're now specific to location, so we're going to use definite article the. Hi Hussein, how you doing? For those of you just joining us, we are talking about articles, the, a, and n. Nora, you mentioned Sean sometimes says, I need a coffee. And you can say things like that. I need a coffee is kind of a short way to say, I need a cup of coffee. If you say something like that, I need a coffee, it's kind of short, a short, informal way of saying, I need a cup of coffee. In that case, you could use both. You could say, I need a coffee, or I need coffee. Yeah, Milena, that's right. You just leave out cup of. Cup of. The meal was fine, but the tomatoes in the salad were a little overripe. Usually we wouldn't put article before tomatoes, but here we use definite article the because we have a prepositional phrase, in the salad. It's a specific tomato. It was the tomatoes in the salad. And of course, if you say the meal, you're speaking to someone who knows what meal you're talking about. Either they had the meal with you, or they know what meal you're talking about. You started the conversation talking about the meal. But here, tomatoes, plural, usually no article, but because we are talking about specific tomatoes, and in this case, the tomatoes in the salad. Yes, it depends on context. If your reader or listener understands that you are talking about a specific context, you're not talking about something in general. You're not talking about dolphins in general or coffee in general. You're not stating some fact about all of something. You're talking about a specific something. Then you need definite article the. Notice that each of these examples have been made more specific with a prepositional phrase or has been given a more specific context. Natty, you would say, no, I would not like a coffee. But if you ever say, I don't like coffee in general, any coffee at all, usually say, I don't like coffee. I don't like coffee. Vivek, if you say, girls love shopping, if you think that's true for all girls, if you think you're stating a fact about all girls, no article. If you're speaking about a specific group of girls, you would say, the girls love shopping. Okay, Leo, we know we're talking about tomatoes in the salad. You're right. The reader or the listener could very well guess they're the tomatoes in the salad. There's no mystery. However, anytime we contextualize something, anytime we give something context, by giving it a location or ownership or it is already known. We give context if we give something a location, we give it ownership, it belongs to somebody, or it's already known. We've given it context. We have to use the. We have to use article the. It's not a choice. In this case, it's not a choice. Even though we can assume the tomatoes are in the salad, we still have to use article the. Like I said, in American English, we love articles. We love articles. We use them all the time. Of course, not when talking about something in general, not if we're assuming something is a given fact about something. But outside of that, we use articles. We like our articles. Natty, you're confused now? Okay, let's look at it in writing. Let's look at it in writing. I'll make it a little bigger. So a waiter might say, would you like coffee? Or would you like a coffee? The waiter can ask either one. Would you like coffee or would you like a coffee? In this case, it means the same thing. The second one, of course, is shorthand for a cup of coffee. And then the customer can say, no, I wouldn't like coffee. Or the customers can say, no, I wouldn't like again, short for a cup of coffee. But they don't say cup of, and this is fine. This is fine. However, the next sentence the customer might say is, I don't like coffee. Generally, the customer does not want a coffee because in general, it's not that they're just not in the mood for coffee at this particular time. The customer is informing the waiter in every situation they don't like coffee. Here, it's a fact. It's a general rule for this person. It's factual for this person. No article. They don't like any coffee at any time. Here you can't apply the article. No article. Here, though, you could on the sentence above. No, I wouldn't like a coffee. Just in this one case. Maybe this person does like coffee, but right now they are not in the mood for coffee. They're in the mood to drink something else, or they already feel awake. No reason for a coffee. So maybe just in this one case, nope, I wouldn't like a coffee. So they can refuse it this one time. If their general rule, if for them, they don't like coffee, they're either a tea drinker or they just don't like caffeine, the general rule, I don't like coffee. No article. No article. It is confusing. Hussein, the waiter could ask, would you like a cup of coffee? If the waiter asks, would you like a cup of coffee? we would always have to use article A because cups are countable. You can count cups. So now you have to use, you don't have a choice, you have to use the article because is referring to cup and not to coffee. Leo, you're saying, would you like coffee? Seems to be less formal. Actually, I think in American English, both of these are pretty interchangeable between would you like coffee, would you like a coffee. Both are interchangeable. It's understood. Contextually, it's understood. If the waiter asks, would you like coffee, it opens up the discussion, and you could probably order a specific kind of coffee, a latte, an espresso, an Americano. Would you like a coffee? Kind of the same thing, opens up the conversation. Would you like a coffee? Same difference. This one, I would say neither of these are more formal or informal. Both are used often. Yes, Marco, you could also ask, would you like any coffee? Would you like any coffee? Same as saying, would you like some? You could say, would you like any coffee? Would you like some coffee? You can use quantifiers before coffee as well. Kimberly, that would be correct. It would be correct to say or to ask, that's something a customer might say, is the coffee hot? If you use a definite article, then the reader or listener knows what coffee you're talking about. Is the coffee hot? You can see the coffee. You can either see it in the coffee pot or you can see it in the cup. And you're referring to a specific coffee. Is the coffee hot? Is the existing coffee? Means it's already brewed and you're wondering, is the temperature of the coffee hot? So that is correct. Ooh, that's a lot about coffee. Yeah, articles are confusing. Articles are confusing. So let's look at more rules. Unique people or things, usually with proper nouns. And if I say proper noun are things like, oh, I don't know, people's names like Vivek or America or Vin Diesel, Coca-Cola. These are proper nouns. Common nouns are things like, well, I don't know, car, building, cheeseburger. Proper nouns refer to somebody or something specific. Something with a name. Okay. Unique means that there is only one. With unique objects or people, you can use the definite article. The earth. Notice that it's capitalized here. So we know we're using it in the proper sense. But there's only one. There's only one. There's only one earth. So it becomes the earth. The earth. And that's what Vivek, that's what I'm talking about right now. With a name, you can say the earth. Here, the sky, even though we don't capitalize it, if you look up in the air, if you look up, what do you see? You see the sky. We assume the earth only has one sky. I'm not sure how accurate that is scientifically, but we count it as one sky, all one sky. So we say the sky. The queen, if you live in a country with royalty, you would say the queen. The Great Wall of China. There's only one. There's only one. The Great Wall of China. There's only one in the world. So even though wall is a common noun, here we are referring to a specific one with a specific name. So we use definite article the. Yes, Nitesh. So let's look at yours. You're asking, can we use articles before names? We can. Nitesh, you're correct with yours. The Vivek I knew 5 years ago is different from, and we would also use article here, the Vivek, and maybe we'd give it more context. I know now. Yes, this is correct. The Vivek I knew 5 years ago is different from the Vivek I know now. So if two people share the same name, you can use definite articles. I believe we have the Rosa from Brazil just joined us. If there's more than one person with the same name, you can use definite article the to give context to which one you're talking about. Sometimes we have to make clear, especially with a common name, like in America, of course, Mike. The Mike I work with is not the same as my brother, Mike. Because Mike is such a common name, you'll often hear or see an article before it, before common names. Yeah, if you don't know somebody, this is another good example. Nora, you came up with, if you don't know the person, so if you answer the phone, you could say there is a Vivek calling you on the phone. That means the person who answered the phone has never talked to this person, doesn't know this person, and they say this, saying, I don't know who this person is. I know their name, and there might be more than one person with this name. You're hoping that the person you're telling will be able to identify this person. But yeah, we say, there is a Vivek calling you on the phone. Which one? I don't know. I've never met him before. I don't know which Vivek. So yes, you can use articles before names, but it's in very specific contexts. Very specific contexts. Okay, let's keep on looking at some rules. When you use superlative adjectives, yeah, same with me, Leo. You know, I only know Vivek here in class. So the only Vivek I know is Vivek who joins us for classes. So, Natty, anytime somebody you don't know, if you don't know the person, you would say, even if you used Mr., you would still say, there is a Mr. Vivek calling you on the call. I'm going to say calling for you on the phone. If you answer the phone and you don't know the person and you're informing somebody else, you just learned their name for the first time by answering the phone, you would use the article or a. Okay, let's look at superlatives. If you use superlatives, the third form of the adjective, she is the brightest student in our group. If you have superlative, brightest, est ending, you need definite article the. It was the most significant event of the decade. Superlative most, you need definite article the brightest, the most. Yeah, Natty, if you said Mr., of course this would make it more clear that it's a man, but usually by name you can tell man or woman, usually, not always. Okay, let's look at proper nouns. We use the, definite article the, with the following proper nouns. Names of oceans, the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean. So use the with oceans. Seas, the Mediterranean Sea, the Black Sea, the Red Sea. Rivers, the Amazon, the Hudson River, the Mississippi, the Nile. Gulfs and straits, the Gulf of Mexico, the Bering Strait. Geographic regions, the Middle East, the Midwest. Hotels, the Pan-Pacific, the Delta. Theaters, the Orpheum, the Vogue. Museums, the Museum of Modern Art, the Hermitage. Newspapers, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. Groups of islands, the Cayman Islands, the Cyclades. Am I saying that one right? Cyclades. Mountain ranges, the Himalayas, the Andes. So mountains, so notice how much geography is there. Newspapers is thrown in there, theaters, hotels, but geography. We usually use definite article with geographic formations. Yeah, the USA, although that rule is a little different. Here is where we don't use definite article the. For countries, Canada, England, Mexico, America. Exceptions, countries with union or united or kingdom or republic in the name, such as the People's Republic of China, the United Kingdom. If we say the full name, we say the United States of America. And then there are a couple countries like the Philippines and the Netherlands that we also use definite article the, but usually no the for countries. Continents do not get definite article. Just Europe, Asia, Antarctica, North America, South America. Provinces and states. Z, heaven and hell, usually no article. Not the heaven and the hell, just heaven and hell. Provinces and states. Ontario, Texas, Washington, British Columbia. Cities and towns. New York, Rome, Tokyo, Dubai, Rio de Janeiro, Angkor Wat. Streets, Wall Street, Fifth Avenue, Main Street, Broadway. Languages, Japanese, Spanish, American, French. Lakes, Lake Ontario, Alice Lake. So here's a geographic formation, lakes. No definite article. Stations, Shinjuku Station, Paddington Station. Parks, Hyde Park, Stanley Park. Individual islands, not a group, just individual islands. Vancouver Island, Mykonos. Individual mountains, not a whole mountain range, just one mountain. Mount Everest, Castle Mountain. No definite article. Bye, Fanny. Everybody's saying bye, Fanny. Bye, Fanny. Okay. Here's some special cases. We use the, definite article the, with an adjective in order to make a general noun. The poor means all poor people. I feel pity for the poor. I hope my government does more to help the poor. If you add definite article with an adjective, you've made something general, and now you can use it as a noun. The elderly, all elderly people. Every society should take care of the elderly. Every society should respect the elderly. So you can add definite article the to an adjective, and now you're speaking about something in general, and you'll use it as a noun. The Chinese means all Chinese people. I would like to go and see how the Chinese live. I would like to travel and see how the Chinese work. Eddie, the Galapagos Islands, I guess would be an exception. It's a group, and it gets the. So there are exceptions. You thought of an exceptions. The Galapagos. The Galapagos Islands. So an exception. You thought of an exception. And there are. You will find exceptions. For inventions, body parts, plants and animals, we can use an article with a singular noun to speak in general. The telephone was invented by Bell. Here we're talking about the invention of the telephone. The telephone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell. The cheetah is the fastest animal on land. We're using definite article, and we're speaking of all cheetahs in general. And here, of course, we have a superlative. The cheetah is the fastest animal on land. The maple tree is indigenous to Canada. So that's for inventions, body parts, plants, and animals. So here we have a plant, an animal, invention. We have a body part. Oh, the human brain weighs around 1.4 kilograms. The human brain weighs around 1.4 kilograms. Yes, Bharat, if you say, I want some coffee, that is correct. You can say, I want some coffee. Do you want any coffee? Yes, I want some coffee. Maybe we should have just talked about coffee all morning. A lot of coffee discussion. You could say, I want some coffee. Do you want some coffee? Yes, I want some coffee. Do you want any coffee? Yes, I want some coffee. Would you like a coffee? Yeah, I'd like some coffee. Would you like any more of the coffee? Okay, I'll take some coffee. So in the answer, you can always say some. It kind of means in that case, a little. Yeah, a little. Nor a good use. No article. I'm drinking coffee now. It's just a fact. I'm drinking coffee now. If it's just a simple fact, you don't need article. I'm drinking coffee now. Doesn't matter what kind, just coffee. Okay, we can use articles to talk about systems of transportation. He takes the bus to school every day. How does he get to work? The bus. His method of getting to school, or I said work, his method of getting to school is the bus. So here we can use definite article thus, the bus. He takes the train. We wouldn't say, though, he takes the car. We could say he takes his car. But if you have a method of transportation, the. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye. Bye, everybody who's leaving. You're all taking off. Remember to join me on Wednesday next week. Remember to join me on Wednesday next week. The subway closes at 2 o'clock in the morning. The subway. The subway. So systems of transportation. These following words are often used without an article. Class, school, college, university, work, prison, bed, church, hospital. If you are focusing on the physical thing or place, use an article. However, if your focus is on the purpose of the thing or place, do not use an article. We visited a church, location. We visited a church in the center of an old Italian village. The focus is on the physical place, the building, the actual building. Most people in the village go to church every Sunday. They attend a service, they go to pray. It's the function of the building. It's the purpose of the building. It's why people go. No article. If you're talking about function and purpose, no article. If you're talking about the building, use an article. Okay. Whew. That's a lot. That is a lot. A lot about articles. So we went to a university, yesterday. The university was nice. University has many different majors in which students can pursue their degrees and careers. We went to a university yesterday. So I'm talking about a building and I'm introducing the subject of university for the first time. The university was nice. You know, I'm referring to the same university as this one. University has many different majors in which students can pursue their degrees and careers. This one is talking about purpose of university, not the physical building, not the physical location. Because I saw a lot of questions about university earlier. In British English, they don't use articles before things like university or hospitals. In American English, we do. We do use articles before university. Yes, class will be, one last time, class will be on Wednesday next week. Starting next week, it will always be on Wednesday. I'm moving my class time to Wednesday. In fact, I'll write that in the notes. Class is on Wednesday from now on. I'm switching my day from Monday to Wednesday. Wednesday works much better for me. I hope it works better for some of you as well. For those of you with access to the Smrt curriculum, go ahead and try the exercise. English 125, writing 12-1 articles. Next week, we're going all the way back to Unit 1. For some of you, that will be review. For some of you, that will be new. We've done kind of a cycle through the lessons. I will pick up on some different lessons, teach some different lessons starting next week, but going back to Unit 1, and that will be on Wednesday. Once again, Wednesday. I can't say that word enough. Please join me next Wednesday. Until then, yes, it'll be 15:30 Greenwich Mean Time. It'll be 15:30 depending on if it's your morning, afternoon, or evening, 15:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Please join me there. Thank you, Sabrina, for knowing Greenwich Mean Time. Please join me Wednesday, 15:30 Greenwich Mean Time. I look forward to it. I won't see you for 8 days. Is that right? 8 days? Now 7, 8, 9. I won't see you for 9 days. Whoa, that's a long time. Okay, I'm going to miss you all. I'm going to miss you all in those 9 days. Please read a lot and often, and look for those articles. When you read in English, please look and see how they used their articles. I am going to share the class notes. You'll see the link to the class notes one last time. You can look at those class notes. The best way to learn articles, though, is to read. Read the news, read a newspaper. Look at their use of articles. I'll be back next Wednesday. I'm going to miss you guys. But I'll be here every week, just at a later time. Just in the middle of the week. Thank you for joining. Thank you for talking about coffee and Vivek with me this morning. And I'll see you very, very soon. Stay tuned for a short message from Sean. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want the full experience of being a student in a Smrt Live class with things like homework and teacher feedback, follow the link and become a premium subscriber. Also, if you want to see more videos from this class, check out our playlist.